Hello and welcome to Lammas with the Pagan Alliance Church. As you're aware, we sometimes do meditations or set tasks like going out and getting in touch with nature, identifying things around you as part of these. We're going to do something a little different this time. What I want you to do is envision the world better than it is. Now, we're never going to get to perfection. We're flawed. And so no matter what we come up with that we think is perfect is always going to have some intrinsic flaws in it. What would you think would be better? Now, I know some people have a particular issue that they're focused on right now. For example, tolerance and acceptance of LGBTQ, all right? Acceptance of the trans people, supporting trans people, supporting the homeless, feeding children that don't have enough to eat, or simply being tolerant of people's sexual orientation, choices, the way they live their lives, and not being judgmental about everything that everybody does, for example. But go beyond your topic. Right. Maybe your topic is support women to choose what happens with their own bodies. So you write that down, right? And then you don't like the way the trans community is being treated. You write that down, that you want, and not be just, I don't like the way they're being treated. What do you want to see that's different? Right? If you want everybody to be more accepting of them, if you want them to be more understanding, kinder, whatever it is, write it down for each one of these things that you think of that you think could be better. And I'm going to tell you to write them down, and we're going to do some very concrete examples in here. If you write things down, and I just did this with a list of things that I needed to do today, you look at the list and you realize there's more things, right? You're not done. And you realize you're not done because you're looking at it in front of you. It's not some nebulous thing that you've got in your mind that you could have gotten distracted and moved on to something else and forgotten something. You've got it down in front of you in writing. And that allows you to expand upon it and to see where there are things that you just didn't notice. Go to some place like Ground News and see what the hot topics are. Or, God forbid, look at anything in social media and the BS that gets spewed there. But find a topic that you hadn't thought of, right? And it's not that you're not empathetic. It's not that you're not compassionate. It's just overload. There are so many things that need to be fixed that it's a great big list, and the only way we're going to get through it is one at a time. But if we can list out everything that we want and then see if we're getting closer or further away, for example, voting, right? How many people are diluted into another pool of people who don't think the way they do, or have not had the life experiences that they do, or don't have a lived experience that most of the other people in the group do. All right. If we had a true democracy, that would mean that everybody's vote counts for every issue. But technologically, we're not there yet, because you can think of all the things that would be required for that, verifying that you are who you say you are when you cast your vote, verifying that the person casting the vote is not under any kind of duress, right? And these are things that could be done, right? Depending on the technology. Keeping an eye on heart rate and respiration could tell if the person was under duress. DNA or fingerprints or some other biometric measurement could be used to determine that this person is the person that they say they are, for example, and make sure that they only vote once. But that's not how we're built right now. We have a representational government. So your vote gets diluted in with a bunch of other votes to create a person or persons who are going to vote on your behalf. And I know there's been a lot of discussion about the composition of the Senate versus the composition of the House, etc. But again, your vote gets diluted, and depending on the size of your state for the Senate, it could be diluted quite a bit more than it is for example, the House of Representatives, because you have more representatives based off of your size. But your vote gets diluted. You're not casting your vote anymore. As a matter of fact, you're not casting a vote at all once the person gets elected. They're casting the vote. And the best that you can do is to pressure them to keep voting the way you wanted them to vote, the reason you voted for them in the first place. But again, it's a little off track from where we're headed here. Go through and make sure you know what's important to you and what you would like to see changed. Now, when it comes to candidates, you're looking for the same type of thing, so it's a good guideline for you to have in mind and know where you're allowing yourself to be a little more flexible temporarily, because we're never going to get to that best place if we stay flexible on everything, which is something I see a lot of politicians and others, especially in religious leadership, letting things become too flexible, not sticking to their principles. So what I'm asking you to do is to make up that list of your principles, things that you would like to see different in the world. And that's the easy part. Now, some people will say, go and live it. Yep, that's important. I want you to go and fight for it. I want you this year to see those things that you are adamant about, the things that you want to see that dial move more toward acceptance, more toward tolerance, and more toward empathy, compassion. And what can you do to get it there? Now, for some people, it might just be that the best that they can do, or the best that they think they can do, is to model it. And I never want anybody to think that modeling it is not a fantastic and absolutely necessary thing for you to do. You need to model the behavior that you would like the world to be. The only way we're going to make the ripples go through the giant pond of this world is by making those ripples and being people that we would like the world to have. But beyond that, what can you fight for in your day-to-day? If you see a comment that is negative, for example, can you reply to it in a positive way? Can you turn that argument that they're making around? Not everybody can, so I'm not expecting everybody to be able to do that. But I am expecting everybody who's listening to this to be able to stand up for their principles, to understand what their principles are, to have mapped out what their principles are, and not only hold themselves accountable, but to hold others as well. And I know that's tough, but if you really want to make a start, you can always hold your representatives accountable for what they do. Maybe you want to do it at town hall. Maybe you don't want to do it publicly at all, but you can write. Put those thoughts down that you have in writing and send them in to make sure that they understand that the person they're representing has these fixed lines that they don't want them to cross. That they expect them to be more tolerant, that they expect them to be more compassionate, and remind them that their terms are limited. And if they don't want to toe the line and make the world better, they're out. We will find somebody else. And when I talk about holding politicians accountable, I also mean the committees that run the parties themselves. All right? Make sure that everybody that you have the power of the vote over, school board members, town committees, anything that you have a vote over, make sure that they understand that you expect a certain level of behavior from them. And if you don't get it, they will have to find a new job. And that's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is be more active online. And if all of those seem to be too much, then protest. All you have to do is show up. If there's a group out there that has a similar goal in mind that matches one of yours, go stand with them. You're doing two things. You are letting the powers that be, for want of a better term, know that there are people that are going to stand up for whatever principle that is. And you also let the people who are standing for that principle know that they are not alone. That their fight is worthwhile and that others will stand with them to make sure that they can get it done. There's a local library in Vermont that's handing out constitutions and Bill of Rights for free so that people understand what their rights are and aren't going into the election cycle. They're not telling people how to vote. They're not making a statement on either party or any candidate. They're just making sure that people are informed, that they know exactly what the Constitution says and not what somebody is telling them on some news program, that they're actually dealing with the facts and not somebody's interpretation of them. So for this year, for Lammas, get to work. I know I sometimes just say, well, be good to do this. No, get to work. Make that list up. Make sure you put down as many items as you can think of now, and it's a living list. Something comes up that you find objectionable, put it on the list. Put down why you find it's objectionable and what you think would be better. Live it. Find that stone that you can stand upon to let people know that this is you, this is how you feel, and this is what you need to see changed. We're not talking about being belligerent. We're talking about being assertive. We're talking about not accepting tiny little incremental things that will get us there in a billion years. We're talking about the world has gone the wrong direction. We need to stop it from going the way it's going, and we need to turn it, because stopping it is not enough. Stopping it does not get us to the world that we want to live in. We've got to stop it. We've got to change course. We've got to make things better, and we can't do that unless we understand what better means to us. Now, that starts with us. That starts with you. Figure out what the world being better would look like to you and what you can do to turn things that way. Now, we're all pagans. So we're talking things that are empathetic, compassionate, helping. We are not talking about things that are destructive, things that make people feel less, or things that take away from other people. Let's figure out where that curve needs to move to and start making the wave through that huge ocean of the world to make the change that we want to see. This is Lee Duffy for Pagan Alliance Church. I want to thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next Sabbath.